It is time to reveal who is under the mask of the Pickle. That's right, yesterday I asked you guys, hey, who do you want me to reveal this weekend? And you said the Pickle. Mostly because your guesses have been everywhere, and so today, let's go ahead and put your mind at ease as we reveal who is under the mask of the Pickle. So with the Pickle, we really don't have many clues. Remember, we just got introduced to him this past Wednesday, which means really it's 1 week of clues. Is it really that hard to figure out who's under the mask? Well, for you guys, yes, which is why you guys are asking me to reveal it. So in that clue package, like in yesterday's video, there's a lot of clues in there. There's more words than clues because he kept on repeating the same things over and over again. I'm assuming it's because he thought he was going to get revealed in yesterday's episode, but he was so much fun that everyone said, hey, let's go ahead and keep him on. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go through the clues, then do the pitch correct audio, give you my guess, and then kind of answer all of the clues. So let's get started. When it comes to said Pickle, before not really too many clues, he says, when I was young, all my teachers thought I was nothing. He said nothing, okay? Not nothing. This person clearly has an accent when they're speaking, a heavy one. Said I was a hyper disruptive kid who had no interest in anything but sports. A bad boy with no future. But when he found his true passion, he became laser focused and reached massive success, rubbing elbows with some of the most famous people on earth. That's where we saw Scorsese, Tarantino, and Martin Short. We had some visual clues, which included a Joker, a recording microphone and headphones. We saw Tarantino, Scorsese, Martin Short, and then we saw the Masked Singer Sharks, which I had pointed out yesterday is a weird clue because this season on The Masked Singer does not include any sharks. So why was that detail put there? No one knew at the time, but I pointed out to you guys before because The Masked Singer never puts out clues unless they meant for you to see it. Okay, so with that one there, it even made me go, oh, that has to be a clue. It has to be a clue. The extra clue we had, because it was the NFL night, and he had an extra clue, which we all knew. I'm his microphone. It kind of is what it is. And he said, I get paid a lot, so pay attention, Kenny. And then he said that he knows each and every one of them on the panel. So someone who clearly works with microphones, maybe not on the radio, even though on the radio, it kind of sounds weird, doesn't it? Especially because I work in radio. It's weird to say on the radio. That's not a real thing. Someone who speaks to celebrities, talks about what's trending, but is not live on the radio, but does a podcast. So that should be enough clues to figure out who's under the mask. But just in case, if that is not enough, let's go through the pitch correct audio. Now, for those who maybe don't watch this channel and don't know what it is, the pitch correct audio is essentially the audio from the clue packages. Fox uses the real celebrity's voice, and so they take that audio, they speed it up, they pitch it up, they slow it down, they do whatever to make the audio sound more like an alien. I'm an executive audio producer in New York City where it's my job to make audio sound good, and so in the case of The Masked Singer, I figured, let's pitch correct it. Now, I do have to say, in his pitch correct audio, in the beginning it doesn't sound like anything, then in the middle it does, and then it kind of goes back out. I don't know why, it's probably a different process they're using, but there is a real voice inside there. So, I'm going to play the original audio they gave us, then the full pitch correct audio I have, and then let's make our guess. So, here you go.
To be honest with you, I never imagined myself dressing up as a Pickle singing center stage.
To be honest with you, I never imagined myself dressing up as a Pickle singing center stage. But now that I'm here, this wild boy's planning on winning. And trust me, I've learned to never count myself out. When I was a young gherkin, all my teachers thought I was nothing. Said I was a hyper-disruptive kid who had no interest in anything but sports. It was basically decided that I was a bad boy with no future. But once I found my true passion, I became laser focused. Nothing or nobody was gonna stand in my way. Lo and behold, I reached massive success, rubbing elbows with some of the most famous people on earth. Tarantino, Scorsese, Short, maybe you've heard of him. Yeah, my mouth still gets me into beef, but that hyper-disruptive kid became a super successful, hyper-disruptive adult.
So who do you think that is? If you're thinking that it's Michael Rapaport, then yeah, I would agree with you. Now, he doesn't really do much singing, so we can't compare the singing voice, but if you go like 14 seconds into the pitch correct audio, you can hear the accent, you can hear his voice, so let's go ahead and compare the pitch correct Pickle, that sounds really weird to say, and Michael speaking. Take a listen.
When I was a young gherkin, all my teachers thought I was nothing. Said I was a hyper-disruptive kid who had no interest in anything but sports.
You know, I think what you should do, Mike, is just what you just said.
So, yeah. To me, that sounds like him. Now, because he's not really a singer, I can't really compare the singing voice, and the clues do match up. A lot of people are saying, Howard Stern! That does not sound like Howard Stern, and I don't think Howard Stern has left Connecticut, or New York for that matter, to go anywhere else in at least 3-4 years. He's like retired. He does his show like in the basement of his house, his mansion in Connecticut, so don't think he's going over to LA to record The Masked Singer, though I have to admit, that would be really, really cool. Though, as someone who works for a competitor, not really. Let's go ahead and kind of answer some of these clues. He says, when I was young, all my teachers thought I was nothing, and said I was hyper disruptive kid who had no interest in anything but sports, bad boy with no future. He was expelled from his school growing up. He did a lot of bad things in school, so the whole spray painting thing and being bad towards the teachers, it's all very much true. He was expelled. So he was a bad boy in school. That clue does match up. Now, talking about sports, I mean, he talks about sports a lot, so it does add up there. He talked about when he found his true passion, he had a lot of success, and that's true. When he became a comedian, he was an actor really first, he really hit the ground running, and everyone loved him. His accent, the way he spoke and everything, his jokes were hilarious. He talked about rubbing elbows with a lot of the most famous people on the earth, and that's true. Comedians do that. We saw a Joker, and he is a comedian. We saw a microphone with headphones. Well, he does have his own podcast, so that makes sense. The photos of Tarantino and Scorsese. In short, I'm going to read this for you. It says here, Michael appeared in Tarantino's movie True Romance. He's interviewed Scorsese, which he said was his favorite interview of all time. And lastly, he appeared in season 2 of Only Murders in the Building, starring who? Martin Short. So, there's the famous people. The Masked Singer Sharks. This one was a deep dive, and I actually knew this one right away, and deep dive is actually the perfect name for this, because he was in the movie Deep Blue Sea, which is about what? That's right, sharks. Killer sharks. Sharks. Masked Singer Sharks. And then the last clue. He gets paid to talk to people. That's true. Podcast. He gets paid to talk to people. And he mentioned how he knew everyone up there. Well, he did a comedy show with Ken in 2020. He's been on Jenny's radio show. I don't know if he's got a direct connection with Nicole and Robin, but it makes sense. He has talked about The Masked Singer, so he does know them and know the show. Anyway, with that being said, do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think it's Michael? Do you think it's someone else? It's not Howard Stern. Stop. I had friends text me, oh, it's 100% Howard Stern. I'm like, where'd you get that at? Okay, maybe the bad boy, maybe, disruptive, that's about it. I mean, there would have been way other clues, like maybe like Robin, Batman and Robin, because his co-host is who? Robin. So there would have been other things and not Robin Thicke, a different Robin. So, you let me know if you agree or disagree in the comment section below, and if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. I'm Joey, stay safe, I'll see you later. Oh, by the way, the next few videos are cruise ship videos, so make sure you check them out, alright? I'll see you later, bye.